Kenny here with Gardening Simplified, and today I'm going to talk about collards and some lettuce, pricking them out and putting them into bigger pots. Okay, what I use for my plants here is just compost. I put my seeds in a good compost mix. What I did was I took my compost that I had, which was a good grade compost, and I run it through a 1/4-inch sieve. Now you can use some 1/4-inch hardware cloth or something like that, which would be fine, but I took out all the big pieces so I get a good consistent texture on this compost. And then what I do is, before I plant seeds or before I'm going to plant into this other container, I moisten it so that it's good and moist. I don't want it to hold water, but I want it to stay together good. And this is some really good compost. In fact, it turns your hands black because it's got a little sticky texture to it, so it's in my opinion, it's pretty good material. But what I'm going to do now, I put compost in my tray. Now I'm using an 1.25 short tray here. I don't need a big long one. And I'm taking and I'm pushing this compost down. I want these cells to be good and tight. I want this to hold together when I go to put it back. It's not going to affect your plant. A lot of people think that it's not going to be able to grow through if it's got a packed in soil, but compost doesn't pack tight. The roots go through it real well if you have a good compost. But just like I say, fill them up, pack them in good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take and prick these out. Now I've got this kale here that I have. This is dinosaur kale, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these up, and I'm going to take these out one at a time, and I'm going to grab them by the leaves. You don't want to tear up the stem, and I'm just going to pull these out, and I'm going to make a hole here and stick that root down in that hole, and I'm going to bury this thing up to the leaves. I'm just going to leave and this is just the first leaves. You don't have to wait until later, but I'm going to bury that right up to the leaves. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in here just a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. Now this here is my lettuce. This is a Roquette, or they call it rocket lettuce. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to prick these loose. Now these trays that I use, it's no special trays. I poke holes in the bottom, or drill holes in the bottom of them. These are just your little trays that you might fix a lunch and take to work with you. But I'm gonna take these out, and I'm just gonna grab a whole clump of them here, and we'll just take and separate each one out, and we're gonna just make a hole here, and then I'm just gonna stick this plant down in here. And like I say, I'm burying it really deep. Don't worry about when you put this in, pack it down tight. Don't worry that it's going to hurt this plant. You don't want to break the stem, but I've got plenty more than what I'm needing, so I'm not going to worry about if I damage a few. But just continue to go this same way, and put each and every one of these in here. And like I say, plant them deep. They've been out in the sun. These were germinated to where one starts germinating, then I just put the whole tray out in the sun and keep it good and moist. So these are hardened off, or should I say they're used to the sun. They're not going to get sunburned. What I'll do is, once I get this all planted, I'm just going to leave it back out in the sun. If this was earlier in the year, which these should have been planted quite a bit earlier, and I'm in 8B, and kale, we could start putting it out way back in March. So, and lettuce the same way, but they should do fine now too, as far as we're not getting that hot. Roquette's lettuce that tends to take the heat good. It produces well through the season. So as far as worrying about whether it's going to live or die, I don't really worry about it. I'm going to put it out there. I'll leave them in these cell trays to let them get a little bit more size, so I don't have to worry about something accidentally getting them when they're way too little in the garden. And then once they get bigger, they're already in compost. I'm planting in compost. I'll have the bed ready for these, and then we'll just go ahead and put them out. Okay, they're all watered in and they're ready to go back outside. And the ones that are extra, now I don't need these, but what I'll do is I'll just let them grow in there until these ones here get big. And if I lose any, of course it really doesn't matter, I don't need this many. So, but you have spares left over. But these are watered in good. When I use compost like this, it's easy to tell when they need more water. When you start seeing the compost pull away from the sides of the trays, then you know it's time to water them again. Usually, if they're sitting out in the sun, and it's bright sunny day, maybe every day, but if it's kind of overcast, maybe every other day. But you can usually tell too by the weight. So if you feel what the weight of your tray is whenever it's been watered, and it's been watered to where it's actually run through, so I know that it's saturated good. But one thing I want to say, when you are potting these up, it's easiest to plant them in there or plant them into one cell, and then pick them out and prick them out and put them into the trays. But it's best to do it when they're real little, because it doesn't really affect them. They just keep going. You don't have to wait till they get their second leaves. A lot of people say that, wait till they get their second leaves to transplant them. It's less shock on them if you go ahead and put them into a bigger pot as soon as they're big enough that you can grab a hold of. And if you like this video, like it, and if you think it's got value for somebody else, share it. And if you want to see more of my videos, subscribe and hit the bell button so you'll be notified just as soon as they come out.